This is Kiss Talk with Jackie.
Jackie's so cute.
Jackie connects you to your community.
Kiss FM.
So joining me today, I've got some special guests in studio from Seattle Works, which is an amazing organization here in town. I've got Tara Smith, you're the executive director of Seattle Works. I've got Jackson Ravens, who is a board member also with Seattle Works. And then I've got Katie D'Amato, also a board member. I want to make sure that we describe Seattle Works the best way we can for people to understand what it is you guys do.
Great. Well, thank you for enabling us to share about Seattle Works with all your listeners this morning. We are a local nonprofit that is dedicated to helping people get involved in the community. So we bring together individuals who are looking to take the next step in their community involvement. And that could be they're not doing anything right now and they want to get active, or they've been trying different things and want to step up to a higher level of leadership, maybe join a board of directors or dedicate more time, effort, skills, energy. So wherever people are at, our goal is to welcome them and help them get connected. And then on the other end, of course, we're a resource to local nonprofit organizations who are looking for volunteers. And in general, great volunteers, people are willing to work hard, easy to work with, committed to the community. And we help organizations a lot of times find younger individuals, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, people who are emerging leaders looking to get connected to a cause that they can make a difference in.
I think that sometimes people are looking for a place to volunteer, but they're not sure exactly which organization, or they don't know how to approach the organization to get involved. And so one of the great things that Seattle Works offers is a chance to get involved in many different it's a very low barrier of entry. And it's a chance to try out different organizations and really see what they're about. So you can volunteer with a hot project, which is just one weekend. If you have a free Saturday, you can find out who needs help that weekend and just kind of dip your toes and see what that organization is about. And it's a chance to really see a wide spectrum of what's happening in your community and then figure out which one you might connect with more, which one you have a passion around, or which one you think your skills would be best suited for, and you can join them kind of longer term. We really help introduce people to all the different nonprofits and in a way that they can get involved as much or as little as they can or they're interested in doing at the time. That was when I moved to Seattle. It was one of the first things I did was join Seattle Works, and it was a way not only that I've met great friends that I'm very close with still today, but a great way to get to know the city. And I, as someone who's just been here for about 4 years, know neighborhoods that people who have been here for 10 or more haven't been exposed to, and organizations as well. So it was, for me, a great way to really get to know the city and get to know people. So that was one of the primary reasons that I became involved.
The big benefits for Seattle Works, not just from getting to know your community, but also getting to know yourself in some new ways, gives you perspective. I mean, we're all, those of us who have been in Seattle even through one winter, we know what it can be like. It's dark from November to July.
It's like Alaska.
Yeah, and you're yeah, exactly. You're like, I didn't move to Alaska. If I wanted it like that,
but yet I feel like I'm in Alaska.
Yeah, and so you're just constantly busy, and you can get frustrated with activities where you don't feel like your time is being used effectively, and you kind of hold yourself really tightly accountable. But Seattle Works, because of its long history in the type of work that it does, has great relationships with nonprofits. And when I first signed up, I was just impressed by the fact that I showed up at a project and it was ready to go, and there were people there who were just committed to the cause, and it really inspired me to give a little bit more of myself, and it also gave me, as I said earlier, a little bit of perspective on what really brought value into my life.
Now, give some examples of, say, some of your bigger events you guys have throughout the year and some of the hot projects, just for people listening kind of going, oh, I could see myself popping by that, or I could totally do that. Because again, they may go, oh, I'm not into volunteering at animal shelters because I know it'll make me sad. Or like I already know what stuff I probably should stay away from, just knowing my personality, but they may hear something that you mentioned and go, oh, I would have never thought of that.
We have 2 or 3 projects on the calendar every week. They're all first come, first serve. And the goal is to have a variety. And because the whole point is to have them have no barrier to entry, they tend to not require special skills, training, orientation, background checks. So they're really easy plug-and-play things. We go to different food banks and food distribution organizations and sort donations, clothing banks, sort donations. We do a lot of habitat restoration, taking out invasive species, trail building, might go and into shelters or group homes and do some cleaning, organizing, painting, putting things in the mail, really easy physical projects that are, no matter what size your group, you don't have to prepare for it. You can come in, get something done, get in, get out. And especially for people who are working on larger projects for their work professionally or just even personally, there is some sort of nice, easy satisfaction of going in and seeing it was dirty, now it's clean.
I'm such
now
a
it's
before and
sorted.
after. Oh my gosh, I really people think it's crazy that I it's therapeutic to me to clean. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, I sit for my job and we talk. But so then when you can do something kind of physical, I think it feels really good. And you leave and you go, look how great it was.
Yeah, it's very tangible. Yeah. So we have those one-time projects. We also have kicking off a couple different times a year. You can join a project team, which is something that both Katie and Jackson have done, and commit to a series of those type of projects, one a month for 4 months, and you're doing it with the same group of people. And you see 4 different types of organizations. We'll go to an education-focused organization, we'll go to an environmental-focused organization, we'll go to a human services-focused organization, and then we'll have grab bag, which may be an arts group, community group, neighborhood group. So you see 4 different organizations, and you get to know the same core group of people over that time. So it's a way to sample different causes and yet build a greater sense of community.
Yeah.
So you can do one project, you can do a series of projects. We also have classes to help people take the next step. So we do a training program, it's called The Bridge, and it's about joining not-for-profit boards of directors and public commissions. Every nonprofit, by law, needs to have a volunteer governing body. And a lot of times, they're looking for people, and people aren't aware that those opportunities exist. They may not perceive that they have the skills or the knowledge to be effective in those roles. They do.
Absolutely. If they're just passionate and can donate the time, I think that's half the battle, don't you think?
Yeah. And so this class is an easy way to give people a moment to consider, can I do this? Do I know what I'm getting into? Am I making a good choice? Is this the right choice for me? Gives a little bit of momentum, and then from then some encouragement from Seattle Works and some support in taking that step if it's the right step for them.
Yeah, and then finding the right group that needs someone.
And the backside to what Tara's saying is that there's, no matter where you are in your life, if you've just gotten here and you're looking to start, there's hot projects, maybe a teamwork team. If you've been here for a little while and you've done a few things, maybe you want to be a teamwork leader, or you want to try the Bridge project, or if you've kind of done some of those things already, you've been around for 4 or 5 years, and you really want to take a stronger, more long-term commitment, placing you on a board or getting involved with Seattle Works boards or Seattle Works event organization. There's basically something for everybody.
Yeah.
That Seattle Works has to offer, which is
what's so funny
really
too
nice.
is going through the recession we just went through. I've met and known a lot of people that were stay-at-home moms for years, and they then got really kind of freaked out about having to go back to work. And I feel like if you are in a position where you aren't working full time right now, but can donate time and be on a board of directors, I feel like that stuff, people don't realize how great that looks even on a resume, because they think, well, if I'm volunteering and I'm not making a salary, it doesn't really make a difference for me. It's just for me. But it's for them, it's for the group you're volunteering for, but it's also going to look great on your resume, and it teaches you skills that you can then take to a job. So for people that, their resumes don't look that great, they can take this time that they're not doing anything anyway and go get involved with something, and it's going to be a win-win.
And
It's also great networking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
stereo.
Yeah, right. You're going to meet all these people at these different projects that may have openings where they work. It's crazy, I think, how people forget about networking. You know what I mean? Again, we're talking about this sad little tragic world we all live in our bubble of town that we live in. And you get very, comfortable with the people and where you're at, and you don't kind of get out there. And it's amazing how many friends you can make just doing these volunteer jobs. And, it's just crazy. I think it's fun. It's a fun way to meet people.
Yeah, the Teamworks team specifically, when I first joined, the teams are all kind of named either fun things or there was a new to Seattle team, there's a singles team,
Citizens of Oz.
Citizens of Oz. But I joined the new to Seattle team because I thought, well, great, I will meet other new people, and we're kind of in this together. And our first meeting, we're going around introducing one another, and everyone knew each other, and everyone was from Seattle. And I thought I was in the wrong group, and I said, I think I'm in the wrong group. And I found out that they strategically had picked the new to Seattle group because they had been in Seattle for so long and knew the same circles and were really looking to meet new people in Seattle. So they had kind of a reverse strategy. But it was great because I, as a new person, got these great city tour guides all of a
It kind of
sudden.
would have been the blind leading the blind if you think about it, had they
Yes.
not thought about that and done it that
Yeah.
way. So that was actually very smart of them.
But it was really a great, way for me to meet people. And then just the Teamworks teams in general, the singles in Seattle, the Dirty 30s, all the different groups that people can join. It's, as Jackson said, we do a lot with the nonprofits, and it's a great way to know that community, but it's a great way to build kind of an internal community of peers. And you really do get to know people when you're side by side pulling weeds or sorting food.
Yeah.
And I want to. The next level that we actually haven't talked about yet is some of our trips where we go outside of Seattle. and
Yeah,
do
I saw
projects.
that. I know.
One
Well,
of
let
the-
me tell people real quick if they're listening and they're hearing us and they're going, God, that's really interesting. I want to join the singles group and volunteer. I'm new in Seattle. It's seattleworks.org is the website. You guys have a Facebook page as well, so they can check you out on Facebook with Seattle Works. But go ahead and talk about these trips because I saw that and I went, well, some people would love to do that.
Well, we've been doing this for probably 4 or 5 years now. I think I think I was on the first trip.
You
we
were,
did,
yeah.
and it was right after Hurricane Katrina, and a group of us. Seattle Works sent out an email saying anybody who's interested in going down and working with the Hands-On Network to help with some of the recovery efforts after Hurricane Katrina, let us know, and we're going to put together a group, and we're going to go down. And a dozen of us signed up for this trip, people that I didn't know at that time, and we went down for a week. And Seattle Works kind of arranged for the transportation and the housing. We did have to pay for that, but the logistics of it were taken care of. And again, as I said, it was a transformative experience. We helped rebuild houses. We cleaned out buildings. I remember one of our members just ended up talking to somebody on the street, and they'd had some damage in their backyard. And so we all just shifted out there and helped specific individuals with that. It was a phenomenal trip. And Seattle Works has gone back to the South 4 or 5 times, I think, on different trips. And there's also been a trip to, and then now some of the trips are actually overseas.
I was going to say, I saw was
Yeah.
there Nicaragua or I saw some trips that I thought,
there was a trip to
that would be
Thailand,
a great opportunity.
And there was a trip to Nepal, and these have been done in conjunction with another great nonprofit called Crooked Trails, which is in town. And I know people that have been on these trips, and they want to do more. They want to go back and do more. And it's not just that you go and work for a week on the overseas trips. You also get a chance to live with the people that are there and experience the culture and have a couple days on either side to see something. So it's a new way to give back to the world community, but also to really take your vacation to the next level. And I think one of the things that you touched on earlier that should never be left out of the equation when talking about Seattle Works is just that at a very basic level, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think people, when they think of volunteer work, there's kind of a serious nature to it sometimes. Like, well, we're going to go with our shovels and do.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is you think about what is a great event for you. You know, you want to go somewhere, you want to meet people, you want to do something, you want to take pictures and have good stories to tell.
It's living.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
living.
Like,
You wanna live,
'cause
and
we
whether-
kind of stop
yeah.
living after a while, don't you think?
Whether you're going to a baseball game or to a club or you're going on to a hike in the mountains, I can guarantee you that Seattle Works offers all of those great things, and it's just a blast. And we outside of the volunteer projects and stuff, people get together and they do dinner parties and you meet a lot of great people because you need to know that everybody else who's coming to Seattle Works is going to be in the same kind of space that you're in.
Yeah, everybody
You know?
it has that same thing in common.
And my favorite thing about Seattle Works, it is fun and it is social. And at the same time, as people come together for these experiences, they're coming with community as their first priority. Sure, they're going to make friends. Maybe they'll get a date. Maybe it'll help their resume, which is all wonderful. But we don't get together to swap business cards, which has legitimate value. But for us, we're getting together and we're doing something. We are volunteering. We're learning together. And then through that, connections get made in more of an organic, natural way.
happens.
Yeah, and from
Exactly.
there, then people wind up grabbing a beer or helping each other with their job search. But the connections happen first and foremost because people are coming to serve and to give back and to care.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, I just think that's the thing. Whenever I talk to a nonprofit on the show, I go, gosh, I feel like you need to remind people that there's all this stuff going on around you in your own community that, we always see on the news, national things, definitely. But there's so much going on here that, people, parks to be, worked on and, things that are in our own backyard. And I love, and I've done this, and I know everyone listening is going to know that you guys have done this, where you sign up for an event, your week gets extra busy, you're exhausted, and you go, oh, what was I thinking? Like you feel like you kind of overbooked yourself, and then you go to it, but then you go home and you feel really good. You know what I mean? Like you're so glad you did it. So sometimes you kind of have to push yourself out of your comfort zone and try something new, and you don't realize it's kind of this great, it's this high almost. You leave and you go, wow, I'm so glad I did that.
It's just really great to see, some of the things that we do might be what we think are kind of small. So cleaning something or helping someone's garden or kind of weeding for them. This past Saturday, I did a Teamworks project at the Rose Hedge Multi-Faith Works up in Capitol Hill, and we really just helped clean their garden for them. And just the amount of stress that relieved from their staff and took off of their list, and how excited that they were that it was done, and it was done in an hour and a half because we had so many hands, and it had been weeks then they couldn't get around to it. So just seeing the relief that we offer and the capacity that we give to nonprofits, and then it gives you an appreciation for just what they're trying to do and how simple things like weeding and cleaning and raking can really provide them with more time to, work for their cause as opposed to cleaning
something
their
that
yard.
seems small could be so overwhelming for someone else, where you bring a group of people in to just tackle it in an hour and a half, and you go,
We're kind of a force.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, there's not been a project that I've been involved in that we haven't finished early. We haven't gone through their list, and we haven't said, what else do you have for us? And they've said, you guys did it all. And so we're always
Please come
like,
back.
well, give us more. We've got an hour left. What needs to be done? And so we just do it. And it's, we're, as Jackson said, it's really fun. And I always like to describe us as kind of scrappy, and people just aren't afraid to do whatever is asked of them, which is really refreshing. And I think something to be said for the emerging leaders that we have in the community today.
Yeah, we get great feedback all the time from the nonprofits that we work with, and we've been speaking specifically to people, come volunteer with us, come take a class with us. But if you're listening and you're with a nonprofit organization as a staff member or volunteer, we exist to be a resource to your organization. Could you use one of these project teams? Are you looking to connect with emerging leaders? Are you looking to diversify your board of directors? If you go to our website, seattleworks.org, right on the front, you'll see there's two tabs. One says get involved. The other says need volunteers. And so if you're an organization that wants to know how can I benefit from this organization, we'd love and welcome new partners. And we hear all the time, you guys finished earlier than we expected. You guys got through everything on the list. We thought that was impossible. You were so well organized. Everybody showed up on time. Everybody was so nice. Everybody was so easy to work with. It was clear everybody was there for the right reasons. I mean, we have, it makes my day when we hear from our nonprofit partners, not just that the work got done, but they enjoyed working with the Seattle Works community. It made it easier for them to work with volunteers, because a lot of times we think about the fact like, oh, volunteering, it's free. But for a nonprofit organization that's strapped for resources, they may not be paying you, but there's time. They have to organize the project. How many people is going to take?
So much
Do
work.
we have the supplies? And so on their end as well, it's easier to welcome volunteers if they know it's not going to be a group that wake up and it's raining and so they're going to bail. People are going to show up and they are going to be in a good mood and they're going to work hard and they're going to add value to our organization.
And they'll call you again. They'll go, oh my gosh, they were amazing.
Yeah.
And they'll be able to tell other people about you. I think don't you think these nonprofits, because I've worked with so many of them, I feel like some of them still don't get that they can ask for help. Does that make sense? Like their job is helping people, but then there's always going to be an area, like you said, where, oh my gosh, just the garden's like, it's been right in front of us for how long, driving us crazy, that they can ask for help from groups like Seattle Works. You know what I mean? Kind of leaning on each other. It's this ripple effect that helps everybody run smoother.
Yeah, sometimes it's those projects that are kind of on the back burner that have always kind of been floating around and haven't made it to the top of the list. And this conversation reminds me of one of the best experiences I think I had and one of my teams had happened a few years ago. It was at some low-income senior housing down by Pike Place Market. I don't know, Tara, do you know the name of the organization that's down there?
Oh, it could be related to the Pike Market Foundation, but I don't know.
Okay.
Probably.
But they had something on the back burner, which was basically going into some of these apartments with low-income seniors where they just needed to have their bathroom cleaned. Because, as a senior with mobility issues, it's hard to get down and scrub the tub or clean out the toilet. And it does not, from a volunteer perspective, it doesn't sound like the most, fantastic work
Awesome.
that you want to
Yeah.
do.
I can't wait till
My Saturday is
till I do
Yeah,
that on
I can't
Saturday.
wait. Oh yeah, but we kind of went into it and said this is something that needs to be done. It was right around the holiday times, and this is something that they'd been wanting to do for a while. And we went in and kind of people had to sign up ahead of time if they were interested in this.
Okay.
And so groups of 2 or 3 on our team would go to somebody's door and knock, and the person would come and show us what they needed done. And every single apartment we went to, the person that was there was so unbelievably grateful. And it was such a moving experience to see what a difference it made in their lives and in the lives of the volunteers. I remember a couple of the volunteers came back, and they were actually just like in tears because this woman in one of the apartments was spending the holidays alone. And, an additional struggle for her. And they had come in and cleaned, and she just kind of sat next to them and talked to them and told them stories about her life. And then at the end, they had asked her, is there anything else that we can do for you here at your apartment? And she said, it's the holidays and I'm spending them alone. And, I was wondering if, could you sing me a song for the holidays? Can you
Little
sing?
caroling.
And they're not, all of them are like, well, we can do that. And so they sang her a Christmas carol. And this woman just kind of wept a little bit listening to them sing. And I remember them coming out of that room and saying that was the most powerful thing that they'd done.
Yeah, see, that's kind of my personality. I know listening to that volunteer-wise, I love, and it sounds like who wants to go clean a bathroom, but I love to do stuff where I know that I see that person. My dad had MS and lived alone, and I would always worry about his place being cleaned and groceries, because he lived far away from me. And so if you can help one person that's just struggling with something that seems so basic as, being able to clean, I think that stuff is the most fulfilling, where
Instant
you really,
gratification. For
yeah,
them
it's so
and
good.
really for you.
Yeah, that's definitely, I don't think, if anyone's never done, if they've never been in that position to do something like that, I don't think they realize how good you feel afterwards. That's someone's mom or their grandma, and you're able to go in and, maybe they don't live in town and they can't do that, but you can. Those are the projects that I know what you're saying about that.
And those are just a couple stories, that Katie and I have top of our head. I have full confidence that if there are people out there who are interested in Seattle Works, maybe have looked at the website, seattleworks.org, and just ask a couple of your coworkers, ask a couple of your friends. Have you ever heard of Seattle Works? I can guarantee you that there's going to be a few people that have participated that have and they're going to have their own stories. Everybody has their own stories about, whether it's been connecting them to a nonprofit, whether it's really been a formative experience in their life and how that's happened, and maybe a project or two that they've worked on that have really given them a new perspective on their community and on themselves.
Yeah, we're definitely a little tribe out there, I think. And,
Yeah.
when I go to the gym and I see 4 people wearing different Seattle Works T-shirts from different events, it's kind of like a little hey, what's up?
You guys do like the motorcyclists where you pass, you do the little finger.
Yeah,
you reach out.
basically.
How you doing?
I love to, walk around Green Lake and see people wearing Seattle Works T-shirts.
And the good news is it is a community. It is a group of people who've gotten together, and it's a community anybody can join. So it's not exclusive. It's one of those things. It's easy to get in, and once you're in too, and bring
Yeah.
other people in.
There's no membership. There's no membership fee. It's not like a organized organization with dues or anything. It really is as much or as little as you want to get involved. And we really just connect you with those different opportunities.
Yeah, and there's no guilt ever involved with something like this because you can sign up when you have the time to do it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's the beauty. When we were talking about the hot projects, which I think are brilliant because people are so crazy busy these days, being able to just go on the website to seattleworks.org and find something going on that week that, hey, I've got my Wednesday open. I think that's the best way to get people out there just to try it a few times. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think then you catch the bug.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, I've got, I know you guys belong to the bigger groups. Your team works. So,
Yes.
So for me, I've got the main charities. I do stuff every year. But then it's fun for me to do this, like talking to you guys about this, because I learn so much about what's going on out there. And so then I get excited to let listeners know, hey, do you know this is even there? Because I didn't a week ago, you know what I mean? So it's exciting to find out about these things.
One of the things that's been interesting to me with Seattle Works is I think of something like hot projects, and I think of people who are just getting started and wanting to do something, add on a little something, and that's true. And yet I've also found the longer I'm with Seattle Works is we attract some people who are really involved in the community already. And it might be that they're deep in one area. For example, one of our board members does a ton with the arts. He's involved with theater and museums and amazing. And he was drawn to Seattle Works because he said, my whole community involvement is arts, which is my first passion. And I want to meet other people who care about other causes and who care about community. So it's an interesting way for him to connect with a whole other group of people. So some of the people connected with us are doing, like you, they're doing a lot. They have their cause of choice. They're deeply engaged, and it's a way to broaden their perspective now and then, and to meet other people who have that same value around community.
Yeah, like I can do my, Children's Hospital fundraiser, but I could go clean toilets, darn it. I have that, I can diversify that way. Now, how long has Seattle Works been around? When was it founded?
We were founded in 1989, so we're coming up. Yeah, we've passed 2 decades.
That's crazy.
We were originally called the Benefit Gang, which is like
true.
one of my favorite little stories.
Oh, really? That's what it was called when it first kicked off?
Yes.
Who founded it? Like, how? Am I putting you guys on the spot?
No, it's a great story. We know it. We know it well.
I know. I go, wait, should I ask that before? Okay.
Wait, the movie's coming out this fall. And
we were founded by a group of friends who had gone to high school together. And a lot of them were the children of families who were really actively engaged in the community. And so they had gone their separate ways to college, and coming back after college, a lot of them were back in Seattle and thinking about the fact that they wanted to be involved in the community. They had seen the example their parents had set for them. And yet we're looking around, and a lot of the opportunities didn't seem relevant to them. Maybe they didn't have the ability to commit every Thursday afternoon from 2 to 4. They were new in their careers. Maybe they weren't going to be part of a service club, or maybe some of those other organizations, they just felt like, maybe like they were the kid at the table. And so they were trying to think of something that they could do that was relevant to them and their friends and their lifestyle. So they threw a big party called Winterfest Ball that was designed to raise money for different organizations. So they brought together 20-somethings, young people, to give back in a way that felt fun and fresh and relevant to them. And then over time, they realized, we're onto something here. There actually is a need specifically to bring people together who are looking for who care about the community, but are maybe warming up or looking for different models.
It needs to be a little less traditional.
Yeah, they're looking for, and that's what we've been about ever since, new, different ideas about how to get engaged in the community. And so they started doing group volunteer projects, which at the time was pretty novel. Let's get together with friends on a Saturday. Started getting
89,
yeah, that was unheard of. A lot of the volunteers were full-time homemakers, and the workforce has changed. People's lives have changed. People are busier, and so they were a leader at the time in thinking about different ways for people to give back, and wound up forming a nonprofit called the Benefit Gang, dedicated to that concept of bringing new ideas, energy, new voices, emerging leaders to the table, and helping organizations connect with the next generation. And that event, actually, Winterfest Ball, has evolved. We still have an annual gala. It now
you do?
Supports our own organization. Yeah. It's every fall. Swank. It's popular. It's fun. People love it. So
Swanky.
There's still a way. It is swanky. People actually dress up.
Yes.
Dress up well.
Yeah, 400 people all dressed up. It's
you don't
amazing.
really get a reason to be able to wear good, fun cocktail dresses anymore. So.
Especially when most of the people that you work with in Seattle Works or Teamwork see you on a Saturday morning ready to
Get
pull
down and
blackberry
dirty, right?
bushes.
Yeah.
And when you see each other all dressed at swank, you're like, wow, who are
We
you?
all clean up well,
You clean
darn
up
it.
Basically,
really nice.
it's a fun, a lot of the people who volunteer together will go together, and it's just a kind of a celebration for Seattle Works, but also just a great chance to kind of get together and raise some money and have a great time.
Yeah, you can't beat that. Well, I encourage anybody that's been listening today, that's been hearing us talk about Seattle Works, to go to your website, which is seattleworks.org. Was there something big I left out? Because you look like it's okay. You can tell me.
Oh, I got a wonderful note. Well, one of the things we also do is volunteering is our first and foremost priority. We also help people engage with their community as voters and citizens. So during election season, we help people become more aware of the candidates and issues on their ballot. We host, whether it's a trivia night or an improv night or a meet the candidates, and it's all totally nonpartisan. Our point of view is that you should be voting, but who you
Don't
vote
show up
for,
clueless.
yes or no, it's hard. I mean, some of
It's
those
very
lesser.
overwhelming sometimes. I do news on a radio station, and I still show up sometimes in my neighborhood to vote, and I'll be like having to read on the little pamphlet because I'm not sure about certain people. So that's very smart.
Yeah, so and it's the same values around volunteering. Easy ways to dip your toe in, meet nice people, meet like-minded people, or perhaps not, but in a civil, friendly way. Raise your level of awareness, and make sure that you feel good and actually equipped to make decisions on your ballot.
Yeah, that's smart. Very smart. Well, again, okay, so I think everyone that's listening that's really felt good about this should go to seattleworks.org. Just navigate through the website, see all the things that there are to offer, and just maybe try a hot project first and, go from there. I guarantee that they will, like we said, they will get the bug.
Yeah, we have a great blog on the site that shows photos and basically blog entries from people who actually volunteered that weekend at that project. So it's a great insight for people to get it straight from the volunteer and see exactly what they did on that project. So the blog is a really fun kind of part of the site.
Very cool. Well, again, I want to thank you guys for coming in today.
Thank you guys.